Hello, Likta. 502 Kim. 502.
ఏవాని రికార్డ్ అవుతుంది.
అయినా ఎడిట్ చేస్తారు.
Am I audible to everyone? Am I audible? Okay. Okay. Still, more than 50% students need to join. Only 42 have joined out of 88. Almost 9 to the time. Right. Don't want to waste our valuable time providing other people to join. Let us start our today's session. In the last class, we have started discussing analyzing the weather data set. Right. So we have downloaded the data set from the National Climatic Data Center. And we'll try to analyze the data. My screen is visible to you. Is it visible to you? Okay, okay. Right. See, this is the format of the data set, which contains a lot of information. From this information, we will try to capture the temperature, air temperature part. Okay, and whatever the data set that we have extracted, in which it contains a set of zip files, one zip file for the entire year. In that, it contains information regarding various weather stations extracted data, right? So, in the previous class, we have discussed how to produce the desired output using AWK script. What is the desired output? We'll try to print the maximum temperature that it was recorded in. Okay, so this is the script which we have developed for displaying the maximum temperature that it was recorded in the year of the century years, because we need to find out the maximum temperature for the years from 1901 to 2001. So that is our goal, our task. Okay, so as we have discussed, it takes 42 minutes if you run it in a single system. Then how we will implement using MapReduce, and what are the things that are happening while executing this work in distributed environment. Right. So now let us see the implementation part of this weather data set. So this is the output which we have generated by the mapper logic, and this logic, this output need to be generated, sorted and make them into group by using the year. Okay, and then the reduce function we will apply on it. That means this sorting and shuffling, these are also under the part of reducer function itself. Don't think that they are the separate steps, right? We are supposed to write the code in the reducer logic to do like that. Okay, so in such a way, the reducer logic finally, the reducer logic finds the maximum temperature that it was recorded in an year. Okay, so in this case, the maximum temperature in the year is 22, because we have 3 different entities only, 3 different recordings. Out of 3, we find 22 is the maximum temperature. Similarly, this one. Like that, it need to be displayed maximum temperature that it was recorded in that particular. So this is the overall job. So the input will be split into key value pairs, because mapper logic will accept the information in the form of key value pair, and it produces the output intermediary key value pairs. Intermediary key value pairs. Here you need to observe some of the important points regarding the mapper is mapper will accept key value input pairs, and it produces intermediary key output. And the input formats and the output formats which it produces need not be the same. Need not be the same. That means it may take the input as a text and it may produce output as an integer. Right? So in such a way you can write the code. So always it need not be there is no rule like that. Always whatever the input that you have taken, the output format should be the same. So there is no such kind of rule. It may be different. And the mapper logic will produce either 0 or more key value output pairs. Okay, so that is the functionality of map. So whatever the output produced by the mapper logic will be submitted to reducer logic. So it contains 3 different stages. One is shuffle, second one is sort, and third is reduce. So these 3 steps are executed in reducer side. Okay, so in the shuffle play phase, what we did, so whatever the outputs that are produced by the map logic will be consolidated, and then we'll find the maximum temperature. So this is the overall workflow of this particular example. Now let us see the implementation part of this particular application using Java. Okay, So the map function. First, we need to write three different parts. One is mapper logic, reducer logic, and main program, or the driver code, or you can call it as a driver code, right? So three parts we are supposed to be discussed: map logic, reducer logic, and driver code. Driver code is nothing but the main program. So the map function, the implementation of mapper interface. So what it does is, it is a generic type. Generic type in the sense which will accept the type as a parameter, right? You can pass any type of parameters as is it visible to everyone? Is it visible or not? Anyone of you respond? Okay. Right. See, uh, the mapper interface is a generic type, and you know the importance of generic type, and the advantages of generic type also, you know, they will accept any type as a parameter. And basically, it requires four parameters. You can observe. So here, long writable, comma text, comma int writable. Long writable is same as long data type in Java, and text is same as string, because these are the data types that are defined by. That means how to write the following. These are the different data types, right? But they are similar in functionality, as I have described here itself. The int writable is same as Java integer, text is same as Java string, and long writable is same as Java long data type. Okay, and here you can observe that input key, input value, output key, output value, because each mapper will accept the input as key value pair. Okay, this is the input key. The first parameter specifies the input key, and second parameter specifies the input value, and third parameter specifies the output key, and the fourth parameter specifies the output value, right? In this case, long writable is the data type of the input key, and text is the data type of the input value. Okay, and third one, and that means second text is the output key, and into writable is the output value. Okay, now let us see the mapper logic. Initially, I was defined missing value as a maximum value. There is 4 nines, as we have discussed in the AWK script. Okay, here public void map, long writable key, text value, and output collector. Output collector is the interface to which we can display the outputs. Okay, output collector simply will collect the outputs. Okay, so the formats of those are text, int writable, I think there is an issue, technical issue. So that is the reason it was continuously reconnecting. You just inform me if something went wrong. That means whether you are unable to listen or unable to view. So this kind of situations if occurred, just immediately notify me. Otherwise, okay, all right. So this is the inputs and outputs of the mapper logic. Now let us look at about the code. Are you able to see this? Now I think it is visible to you. All right. So this is the code which will take inputs and it produces the intermediary outputs. So let us see what happens in this case and all. So here string line value to dot to string will capture the line, and string here is equals to line dot substring of 15, 19. That those are the positions in the information given to us. Int a temperature is declared a variable. If line at character 87 is equals to plus, because the parsin does not like leading plus signs, so it won't allow you to use the plus at that. So if it is plus a temperature is equals to integer dot parsin of line dot substring of 88, 92. The same way as we have discussed in the AWK script. Else the temperature. So these are the two different 87 and 88 are the places of capturing your air temperature and the quality codes, right? So string quality is equals to line dot substring of 92, 93. So this is the code as the way you just find out how to find the temperature that it was recorded in that year. So and then whatever the output that you have collected from it, that need to be submitted. Output dot collect method. So in that new text year, new iterable air temperature, whatever the information that you have extracted from the line, as I told you, the data set contains the information in ASCII format and it is line oriented. That means each record is represented as a line. So in that line, whatever the information that we have observed in where data set is present. So from it, we need to extract the temperature and followed by the year in which it was recorded. So these two informations are from that line. Those will be submitted to the output collect method. Okay. So with this, we will try to generate intermediate outputs. Okay. So that is the mapper logic. What mapper logic does here itself, it captures the air temperature, quality code, and year in the given input. Right? So you need to remember an important point here itself is the input will be splitted it into blocks. Those blocks are distributed to the data nodes. Data nodes will keep that blocks for further processing. Okay, so further processing will be done with the task tracker. So this is the flow you know. So here the task tracker means whatever the logic, that means this is the thing, this is the mapper logic which you want to execute it on input block or input split. Okay, so for single input, this is going to be executed on it. That means for this mapper logic, whatever the block that it was kept with the data node will be considered as an input. Once again, I will repeat the same because it is very essential. The input blocks are stored in a data node. The task tracker means this is the task which is going to be executed by the task tracker. For this task, whatever the input block that is present in the data node will be considered as an input. Okay, and whatever the final output produced by the reducer is the output of the output for the particular input block. Hope you all understood. And if you did not understand this particular context, I'll explain in another way. Please give you your response. If you are not able to understand it, you just raise your hand so that I will explain with a different mode. Anybody? Okay. So hope it is clear to you. Now, let us come into the reducer implementation. So as I told you, reducer is the function which is going to generate the final outputs, right? So what is the input for the reducer function? Whatever the intermediary results produced by the mapper logic. Simply you can call it as the output of mapper function will be supplied as an input to the reducer logic. That's it. Output of the mapper function will be supplied as an input to the reducer function. What is the format of the mapper function? Key value pair. So reducer function will accept the information in the form of key value pairs only, and it produces the either 0 or more key value pairs as an output. All right. So again, this is also be executed in the data node itself. So this is also running as a part of task tracker, right? So reducer interface, it is also a generic type. That means it can accept any data type as a parameters. So here also 4 type parameters. One is similar to the map function: input key, input value, output key, output value. So in our case, text as the, so here you can observe that 4 parameters are there. First one is the text, which is the input key type, and interpretable is the input value type, and this is output key type, and this is output value type, right? Text interpretable, both of them are same. So here also it need not be the same input formats and output formats, right? Unfortunately, in this case, both of them are same. All right. Now, the reduce method. What reduce method has to do? In our case, the reduce method has to find out the maximum temperature in the year. Maximum temperature in the year. All right. So it has a consolidated list of the temperatures that are recorded for that year. So among those temperatures, it need to find out the maximum temperature, and the output will be submitted to output collector. Okay. So output collector is here the key and followed by whatever the maximum value that it was recorded. The year key means the year, and value maximum value means whatever the maximum temperature that it was find out from the all the recorded temperatures. So in such a way you can implement the reducer logic. Now don't worry, we will discuss number of examples like this, and you may come to the conclusion like what exactly the various steps that are involved in this, right? Now that is now driver code, Java implementation of the main method. This is the which is common to majority of the programs. It is common. Driver code is maximum part is common to all the programs, right? So first let us see the important aspects in the implementation of driver code. So construct job configuration object. What it does is the job configuration object. I think you are unable to view here. So here you can observe that job configure. Conf is equals to new job configure of map temperature dot class. Map temperature is the class name. So when you execute program, whatever the class file it was created for that one. Okay. After compiling the program, you will get the class file, right? So what job configuration object does is a specification of the job. That means which job it is going to be run, and control how the job is running, and pass a class to the job configuration object, right? Because as you know, job tracker is responsible for distributing and execution of the job. Okay, it supervises the execution of the job. For that purpose, which job it is supposed to be supervised and which job it is supposed to be controlled, all these things will be defined with the help of this object, configure object, which is an object for the job configuration. Okay, so here you can set, there are so many methods that are associated. Here we have used only one. Like that we can write a number of set job ID, set job name, set other, like so many different types of methods are available with this job configuration object. So here config dot conf is the object of job configuration. Dot set job name is equals to maximum temperature. Here this is user defined name. You can write anything, but here our case our goal is we'll try to find out the maximum temperature. So that is the reason we'll make it as max temperature. Right now, so what we require, we need to specify the input path and we need to specify the output path, from where we will collect the input, okay, from where we will place the output, and how to call the mapper logic and how to call the reducer logic. Okay, so these are the four important aspects we need to be specified. For that, after configuring the job configuration object, the next step is specify the input and output paths. So these will be done with the help of file input format dot add input path, configuration comma new path of arguments 0. So here if we'll get the two different arguments, one is input path and another one is output path. If it is not equals to 2, then we'll respond with an error message, right? So whatever the first argument that you have supplied, that need to be a input path, and second parameter which you have supplied at console will be considered as output path, right? So here file input format dot add input path of configuration object comma new path of arg sub 0, and second argument is output, where we are supposed to write the output. All right, and next step is, suppose here important point is, suppose whatever the path that you have specified in, suppose if you specify the output path as output.txt, if it is already exist, then immediately your job will not be run and Hadoop will respond with a message, error message, right? Similarly, the input path also. That is the important point you need to remember always. You just check before specifying the output path whether it is exist or not. Next, we need to specify the mapper method and we need to specify the reducer. For that, configuration dot set mapper class is equals to maximum temperature mapper dot class. That is the mapper class which we have defined in the previous slides. Implementation of mapper logic. So here you can observe that public class maximum temperature mapper. It extends the MapReduce. So here this is the mapper. So that is the reason here we need to be config dot set mapper class of maximum temperature dot class, and similarly config dot set reducer class, whatever the class file that it was created for the reducer logic, that you need to be specify here itself. And finally you need to specify the output key value classes. Configuration dot set output key class is equals to text dot class. So here you can observe that these two are the data types of the reducer logic, output key value data types of the reducer logic, reducer function, right? And finally job client dot run job. So then your job will be submitted for the running. So where this configuration object contains what it contains? It contains the job name, job ID, input path, output path, mapper class, reducer class, and output key value classes also. Right? So this is about how to running this particular. Now let us see the flow, how it will be. So once we look at the running this job, I mean getting the output of this program, and then we'll move to the flow, how it is going to be started at beginning and how it will be ended with the help of diagram we will try to see. So simply here Hadoop class path is the local path for our application. Okay, so in a standalone mode we'll run it in our local file system with a local job runner, because both name node and data node are running at the single system. So that's why. So if you run your program by following the commands which we have discussed in the previous classes, so this is the output it was generated. So now if you want to see the output, you just run the command cat output part of 00. So it will display the information like this. Right? Don't worry, we will execute all these programs in our lab. So in that you will get some clarity regarding what exactly all these things. Now let us move to the understanding of Hadoop API for MapReduce framework. There are different versions are available. Let us see the old version and the new version and comparing these two. What are the differences that exist between old version and the new version? So initially, for the first version, which we can call it as a classic MapReduce or simply MapReduce 1, all the examples which are given in our textbook are based on old framework only. Of course, they will also specify the important aspects regarding new APIs also. But examples are keep it in brain meant for executing in the old API format. So now let's start discussing what exactly the facilities that are available in MapReduce 1. So at the highest level, there are 4 independent entities. One is client, job tracker, task tracker, and distributed file system. So what is the job of the client? Here it just submits the MapReduce job. So that the job tracker, it coordinates the job running. So the job tracker is the Java application whose main class is job tracker class. It can be implemented. All the functionalities of the job tracker can be implemented using the class job tracker. Task tracker. Okay. Okay. Right. Don't worry. I'll share this session recording with you because some of you are facing some network issues because of the rain. Okay, whoever is able to listen, you just listen. Otherwise, I'll share this video with you. And in that, if you have any queries in the next class, that means in the tomorrow's class, once again we will discuss. Don't worry about it. If necessary, I'll repeat the same class in the next session also, if you require. Okay. Okay. Right. So, and a task tracker, just simply the responsibility of this task tracker is just it has done whatever the task that it was allocated, whatever the task that it was allocated that need to be completed without any problem. So that is the job of the task tracker. So it runs at the job has been split into, I mean, whatever the block that it was allocated to the data node on which the task tracker is working, right? So the class for this particular one is task tracker. So with that, we will try to implement all the functionalities. And the last one is distributed file system, HDFS. So it is used for sharing or job files between the other entities, right? Just simply it is a storage mechanism. Now let us see. First, you look at out the diagram. This is the flow of execution of the job in the classic MapReduce environment. So this is the MapReduce program. Okay, we'll submit it to the client, the job client, with the help of this configuration object. Okay, this is the client node, and that will be submitted to whom it is going to be submitted. It is going to be submitted to the name node itself. So name node in turn, it will be redirected to the job tracker. The tracker will take care of splitting it into the data, and that will be assigned to data node. Here we are, why we need to be separately represented these things is for better understanding only, right? Task tracker will execute that task on the split for which it was allocated, and finally it produces the output. So now here what we have to observe is, so how the job submission will be done, okay, and what happens after submitting the job, okay, what is the job of this, how do we supervise the progress and status of the job, and finally how the output is going to be generated. These are the various steps that we need to be observed from this diagram. Okay, so now first part is job submission. So the submit method on the job creates an internal job submitter instance and calls submit job internal on it, right? Here we'll call the method submit job internal method. So this submit job, once you submitted it, it waiting for the completion polls the job. So here you can observe the diagram. Once you submit the job, so the job tracker need to be conducts the poll among all the other data nodes, because periodically it checks whether the data nodes are active or not with the help of heartbeats. Okay, so that was happened or not, it was verified, and wait for the completion polls the jobs. Progress once a second and reports the progress to console if it has changed since the last report. Okay, so as I told you, if you periodically it takes responses to data nodes and verifies whatever the data that is present in the name node, both of them are same or not. Okay, regarding the blocks are assigned, the jobs are going on, these are all the information. So the job submission process implemented by the job submitter does the following things. As the submit method, it creates internally job submitter instance and calls the submit job internal. So now let us see the job submitter, what it does. If we submit a job, it asks the job tracker for a new job ID, because each and every time when you submit the job, because same data node may execute many number of maps and as well as many number of reducers, right? So that is the reason whenever if you are submitting a new job ID need to be created by the job tracker. Okay, and checks the output specification of the job. For example, if the output directory has not been specified or it is already exist, then the job is not submitted and an error is thrown to MapReduce program. As I told you, the output directory, you should be careful, okay, for giving while giving inputs and outputs. If they are not exist or if they are already exist, if you are not specifying the output directory, or if it is already exist with whatever the name that you have specified, in both the cases you will get an error message. Okay, and it computes the input splits for the job. The job tracker is going to be splitting the given input into blocks. If the splits cannot be computed because of the input path does not exist, what is the possible reason that it is unable to split means, suppose if you are not specifying the input path in the driver code or in the configuration object, what happens, from where it need to be get the information and how it is going to be split? So no idea. So that is the reason, if the splits cannot be computed because of the input path does not exist, okay, in that case it raises an error message, right? Hope you understood. In the driver mechanism or driver code, we have observed that set input format, set input path, right? So that is the necessity of setting that particular input path for the configuration object. Now, next point is copies the resources needed to run the job, including job jar file. Jar file is simply, you can imagine that it is an archive, zip file, which contains the information regarding all your job activities, right? So those are all these jar files and other in computer splits, configuration files, all these are copied it into the job trackers file system, directory named after the job ID has created. Okay, so, and it tells the job tracker that the job is already ready for execution by calling the submit job method on the job tracker. So these are the steps that are done by the job submitter method. Okay, what it does, once again quickly reveal, it creates the new job ID, it verifies the whether output path is specified or not, and whether all the inputs are computed or input splits are computed or not, and it copies the all the job relevant information into the job trackers file system, and finally it informs the job tracker so that I'm ready for the execution. Like that it will pass information to the job tracker. So these are the functionalities of the job submitter method. Right? So up to now we have seen up to 4 points. One is run job, get new job ID, initialize the job in the sense setting the output path, setting the input splits, copying the contents into the jar files, contents into the job tracker file system, and passing information to I am ready. Okay, so those are the things that were happened. Now, task assignment. So task trackers run a simple loop that periodically sends heartbeat method calls to the job tracker. Task tracker simply it runs a loop. It passes the information to the job tracker regarding the activeness of the task data node. Okay, so as a part of heartbeat, a task tracker will indicate whether it is ready to run a new task, and if it is, the job tracker will allocate it to a task, right? So periodically when it sends the heartbeats to the job tracker, so that it passes information to the job tracker like, I am ready to execute the new job if you allocate, right? So in such a way it passes information to the job tracker. Okay. And task tracker we have a fixed number of slots for map tasks and for reduced tasks. Okay. For example, if the task tracker may be able to run 2 map tasks and 2 reduced tasks simultaneously, but how many number of maps should be there and how many number of reducers should be there? These are the different parameters. In the next class, we will see how many map tasks are essential and how to calculate the desired maps and desired reducers, right? So in our case, just we consider an example of, let us assume that 2 mappers and 2 reducers are executed simultaneously. Okay, so it depends upon the number of cores and the amount of memory on the task tracker, right? So it depends upon the capacity of the system and the internal storage area that is available. Based on that, it can be allotted with the number of map tasks and number of reduced tasks. Suppose if your memory is less, then if a job tracker assigns many number of jobs to you, then where can you keep the input split box? So that is difficult to us. You are unable to process it. Similarly, if your processor is very slow, but it was allocated with a huge volume of data, in that case, your efficiency, the performance gets down. So in these two, by keeping these 2 parameters into brain, based on that, the number of maps and reducers are going to be allocated. For that, we have a separate formula how to calculate all these things that we will discuss in the next class. Okay. And then a task execution, now that the task tracker has been assigned a task, okay, the next step is for it to run the task. So in order to run the task, it needs to perform 3 different things. One is, first it localizes the jar file by copying it from the shared file system. So this is the place where you can the jar files and all available. From that, it retrieves the job relevant information into its local area. Okay, and then it creates the local working directory for the task and unjars the contents of the jar into this directory. Okay, whatever the information that it was captured from the shared environment, those will be unzipped and stored in a local directory of the name node where the task tracker is running. And then it creates instance of task runner to run the task. Okay, it creates an instance to the task runner for running this job. The task runner launches a new Java JVM to run each task in. All right, for each and every process will be executed with the help of JVM, so that whatever the errors that were generated will not affect your task tracker job, right? So that your JVM will take care of doing all this. So these are the 3 different steps that will be done by the task tracker, right? So this is about something about the classic MapReduce framework. The remaining part, that means the progress, status, and completion, these all things will be discussed in the next class, and even other API formats are also be discussed in the next class. Right? Any queries? Do you have any queries? Please respond. Do you have any queries? Did you understand what way we are supposed to be analyze the data with MapReduce framework? Because you need not be an expert, you may not be, may not become an expert in as of now, because this is the initial stage where you are. But you just you're able to understand how to write the code. That means what are the steps that you need to be follow while writing the code for the MapReduce logic that you are supposed to understand. Okay, so hope you all clear with these things. If any queries, you please respond. Meanwhile, I'll read the today's options. B5, C9, D0, G0, G2, G9. Any queries? H7, H7, unmute yourself. H7. H7, unmute yourself. Who is H7? F5. F5.
Sir,
Are you clear with the map reduce flow?
yes, sir.
What we are supposed to do with mapper logic, what we are supposed to do with reducer logic and driver code. Is it clear? These three are?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you.
Any queries?
No, sir.
Okay. 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 Thank you. So in the next class, we will see the continuous, the remaining part of the classic map reduce and other APIs, and then we'll look at about the differences that exist among the old API and new API. So now I will end the session. Thank you.